Hi everyone, so I've made it here to Bali. I'm here for 5.5 weeks before I move to Vietnam, but I have left the UK. One-way ticket, no plans to come back, and in this video I'm going to answer why I've left. So, there's 5 key reasons why I've left. The first being disconnection. I've started to feel very disconnected to the UK over the past few years, and I don't really identify with the culture anymore. You know, working in corporate sales for over 3.5 years and being in that whole keeping up with the Joneses, working till you drop corporate culture made me just want to get out, and I feel it's rife in British culture. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, it's just not for me. You know, the whole buy this car, buy this luxury item, numb yourself at the weekends of booze and drugs, get a mortgage, save for retirement, work until your 60s, and then you'll be free to do what you really want to do. That has never really resonated with me and hasn't ever been what I wanted to do, really. I knew I wanted the freedom to be able to do work on my own terms, have more freedom in my life, pursue what I want now, not in 30 years' time when, you know, one, those years aren't even promised, and my best years will probably be behind me at that point. You know, in the life I was living back in the UK, it felt like a prison at times. I had the corporate job, earning a good salary, but I had no freedom, no creative expression. I'd be waking up most mornings at 6 a.m. to get stuck in traffic, go to work, sit in an office, the rain, you know, do work that I found very boring, unfulfilling, and often triggering, you know, corporate sales. And I could have carried on, earn the income, get myself a house which I was saving for, get a mortgage, but I know that I would have trapped myself deeper into the system, and I knew that I wanted to get out, always wanted to get away from it. But that's me. You know, you might love your job, your house, but for me, I knew I wanted to travel, pursue creative endeavours, and just experience a new life. Number 2 is environment. I want to be around like-minded people, and to change my environment, I had to force more growth. I was stagnating in the UK. I wasn't getting personal growth. I felt stuck somewhere I didn't belong. I was just doing similar things day in, day out in the comfort zone, and I knew that I wanted to do something drastically different and to get around new people who will help me grow and get better as well. That's one of the reasons why I've come here to the Bali Time Chamber, which is a kind of retreat type place in Bali, to be around high achievers who are ahead of me and will force me out of my comfort zone. What I'm basically doing is choosing growth and progress, even though I know it's going to be hard and uncomfortable, because I feel that it's going to lead me to a better life, ultimately. Number 3 is the cost of living. I feel like everything is overpriced in the UK, and I just felt like I was getting mugged off a lot of the time. I know I can get a lot more for my money here in Southeast Asia. You know, back home I was paying £700 a month for a tiny room in a house share in a pretty run-down area of Northampton in the UK, as opposed to when I moved to Vietnam, and I know I can get a whole apartment, really modern, nice, to myself for probably less than half of that. Number 4 is the weather. Let's be honest, the UK weather sucks. For most of the year it's cold, grey, rainy. For me, I want to be in the sun, in the warmth the majority of the year, and I'd much rather be warm all year round than cold. So that's why I'm kind of chasing that. Finally, number 5, and not to get too political, but I just don't think the UK as a whole is going in the right direction at the moment. From whether it's the NHS being stretched more than ever, to public funding being cut in our police force, I feel like it's having a knock-on effect in our society. And it was getting to a point when I didn't really feel safe just walking down the streets with my phone out in case it got nicked. You know, I've seen so many videos on social media recently of people just walking into supermarkets and shops, taking what they want and walking out without any consequences, which I think is a bit of a joke. I feel law and order is being stretched in the UK. A lot of crimes are being reported, nothing's been done about it because the police obviously got to prioritise, you know, more violent and worse crime, I guess. I also think our freedoms are being reduced as well. You know, in the summer when the protests were happening, people were thrown in jail for voicing their opinions on Facebook. That's pretty scary to me. I may not have agreed with what those people were saying, but I feel we should all have the right to voice our opinions without a depression. And yeah, I mean, not to go too deep on this, but I just don't feel like the UK is headed in the right direction at the moment. So, you know, I've come out here to experience a new society, see how it feels and compares to back home, and, you know, we'll see what happens. Now, before I wrap up, I do want to say I don't hate the UK. Actually, I'm very grateful to have lived in the UK for 31 years. You know, I had a good education. I grew up in a middle-class family, in peace and safety. I've had access to free healthcare my whole life, been able to attend university, earn an income through jobs and through my own businesses back when I was a personal trainer. And there are many opportunities to succeed in the UK. And, you know, what I'm doing now probably wouldn't have been possible if I had not had, you know, the opportunities that I've had. But I just feel like it got to a point where I wasn't growing, I wasn't happy in the UK anymore, and felt there was more out there for me. So I think it's just about recognising when you're at that point, saying thank you very much, but now I'm off, and that's kind of where I've got to today. Right, that's it for today. If any of you, any of what I said resonated, or if you agree or disagree with any of the points I mentioned, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will speak to you in the next video.